Okay, this is iWorld. Out of curiosity, hides as in hiding something is spelled H-I-D-E-S, right? That's not like cowhides or something, right?
No, you're right.
Okay.
Concealment? Yes.
I have a real problem with homonyms, you know? It's like, I have to verify. You know, the obvious story going around right now is that Apple is supposedly instructing their support people to basically play dumb if people have fallen for a social engineering exploit. Don't know if this is or isn't true. It's, you know, it wouldn't surprise me if it is, because, you know, it's just like with there have been times in the past, and like you were saying a minute ago, you know, Apple has had serious virus problems at points in the past. They have considerably less now, and yes, there is a difference between, you know, the Windows virus of I connected to the internet, now I have 5 new friends playing with me.
Yeah, I think there's a difference that people have to understand when it comes to Windows, that not so much anymore. Obviously, Windows has done a great job and I applaud them, but before the living hell of Windows, it was a system exploit, not a fooling of the user to click on a antivirus software.
Well, no, actually, this is the predominant Windows thing going around these days too. It's
now
like,
it is,
yeah,
sure.
you go up to a site and this fake JavaScript antivirus thing pops up and says, "Oh, you're infected. Please install our malware, and now we'll take control of your computer, and you can pay us $50 to get it back." You know, and apparently Apple users are falling for this too. You know.
I know. Okay, it's but see, for me, I've always fairly tried to stay on top of malware and not clicking anything suspicious. The things that I don't like is when I was in IT was that you had all the security protocols up, but a Windows exploit was breached, and then you come into work the next day and the Chinese flag is flying on the
you are never going to let Code Red go, are you?
I'm not. No, because that damn protocol even was. Remember, what was that latest exploit that didn't do anything, but the date came and went? It was the same thing, exploiting the same RPC protocols that hasn't damn changed since Server 2000. And I'm like, damn, hello.
You know, you know, I'm willing to bet that this is true because it's also being
Well, the malware is there. I've seen Apple report articles online. What I'm saying is that I'm not sure it's authentic that Apple's saying, "Hey, don't," to its employees, to say, "Hey, don't have malware."
You know, if it was
Apple stores and find.
If it was just this article, I'd believe it. But ZDNet tends to be pretty reputable when it comes to this, and ZDNet's also reporting this.
Is it? Well, are we sure it's not the same wording? Because I hate these RSS feeds that take the same damn article and feed it up to the next, and it's reported. Do you have the ZDNet? Put up the ZDNet article so I'll take it. I mean, maybe Apple's just, I don't know. Look, they sell antivirus in Apple stores. The malware exists. I mean, to me, I don't understand why they should say, "Oh, it's virus free" and all this other stuff. Sure, the security and exploits might be minimized, but social engineering is not. And as a matter of fact, I, as a long-time Apple user, have experienced lots of viruses back when you had System 7, OS 9, and all that. And I actually use antivirus on OS 10. I have ESET Nod 30, the ESET equivalent to ESET Nod 32 on my Macs. So I run antivirus.
No, it's like, here's what they're saying, okay? Systems affected, OS 10.6, 10.4, and 10.5. So Tiger, Leopard, and Snow Leopard. If the consumer says, resolution, if the consumer says Mac Defender / Mac Security has not been installed. If the customer has not yet installed the software and are calling about it because of installer appear on their...
I'm chuckling because it's Mac Defender. I think they're trying to make a pun off of Windows.
Yeah, I know.
That's kind of funny.
If they say it has been installed, important. Apple does not provide support or assistance for removal or diagnosis of malware. If customers' Apple products are eligible for support, advisors should determine if the Apple product is working properly for isolating the issues and running any issues with Apple products. Make sure you're not. Important. This is literally the letter Apple sent out. Important. Do not confirm or deny that any such software has been installed. Do not attempt to remove or uninstall any malware software. Do not send escalations or contact to Tier 2 support for removal of software or provide impact data. Do not refer customers to Apple Retail Store.
So this is a letter. See, where is that in this article?
And the ZDNet one I post up, they have a picture of it, and you can click it and get it one big enough to read.
Okay. That's what I want. That's the thing that I'm suspicious of.
Yeah, Apple Retail Store employees should refer the RNN article concerning malware installation. Basically, they're getting the brush off from Apple support, and they're being...
Like, I'm not going to say it's credible yet. I don't know why. Microsoft does not, when a virus gets on your machine, if it's a system exploit, then they do what they can. If you've been fooled as a user, I've never had Microsoft help me. I guess Apple users. I guess Apple users say, "Oh, well, since we're in the." I mean, and maybe that's the mentality, and that's just something that we always.
Well, I would argue. Here's a question: when, at any point in the last 20 years, has Microsoft ever put out advertising campaigns that implied or inferred immunity to viruses?
Oh, I know.
And Apple spent how many years recently, building this whole...
I made videos saying, beware. I'm on record. I have videos backing it up. I have videos backing it up saying, don't be fooled. Nothing is foolproof. But as a matter of fact, OS X can screw up, and there have been proof of concepts. And there have been some exploits on there. And I've always said on my videos that never use your root admin shell as your primary user, or the user you use as administrative privileges, and always use it yourself as a normal, I guess you call it a normal user shell. And then when you need to install it, of course you can put in your admin password, but the shell itself, if it becomes infected, can be dropped.
Yes.
And new shell, and you're back in business. So that's something that I've always put on video. But social engineering, I don't think any company is going to be there to say, oh, yes, we're going to bail you out. But what I think it speaks volumes about, though, is the mentality of maybe Apple users that are like, wow, I went inside the Apple bubble, and perhaps was sold that, hey, we don't get viruses, and now that they were naive enough to click that, and then in essence install it on their they expect help. I'm just saying they expect help. I would say Microsoft users, I've been there. I never thought to call Microsoft, like, ah, damn it. I clicked on something.
Here's the thing. If I bought the Apple Care, I would expect support with this. I would expect...
Well, then they should. Well, yeah, you will have support if you have Apple Care. I don't think they're denying it if you have Apple Care.
Let's see what this says here. Basically, they're just they're very clear. They're very clear. We do not provide support for this, regardless.
Wait a minute. Apple Care supplies support for a bunch of stuff, man. I mean, you can call in and tell them a sliced cheese is in your CD-ROM or something. They field quite a variety of.
Well, the third note on here.
I'm still not buying the legitimacy of this letter.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I mean, I'm not. Why would they? Maybe I don't know. I need more. I'm not gonna. Let's put it this way. I'm not gonna confirm or deny this letter yet. I mean, I've seen Apple try to take a silent approach, so I tend to say, wow, it just might be credible because Apple always takes a stance of there's nothing wrong, and then a week
yes,
goes by.
Welcome to Apple, where nothing can go wrong.
They tend to respond differently. You know, it's like it's a massive attraction.
As you were just saying a minute ago about the fact that when they were doing those ad campaigns, they really did focus on the fact that compared to Windows, the viruses on the Mac platform were way below what Windows had, and they were trying to make it seem as almost though they didn't exist. I mean, if you can imagine that, and now it looks as if they're obviously stepping up more than what they were previously, and I'm guessing that they don't really want to admit that they finally could be on an even footing with Windows. So as much as even I don't want to believe that what has been said in that letter has been true,
okay, all right, but Phil, hold on a minute. The Get a Mac campaign was what? In what, 2000, mid 2000s or something?
They just recently discontinued them.
Like, yeah, in a couple of years.
Well, wait a minute. Let's see, Get a Mac. I want to know in the advertisement because I remember that was a few years ago, maybe in 2007 or something, and that's on the heels of XP. So I'm not saying it's going to be false advertising. Clearly, XP was plagued with.
Well, no, this would be a really interesting social engineering experiment to do right now.
Wait a minute. Every Mac user, look. Mac users are going to fall for the same crowd, and there's no. Brilliance.
I would like to do a social engineering experiment to see who is more likely to click on the social engineering. Hi, you've got a virus. Please install malware. I would like to randomly take 20 to 100 Windows users and 20 to 100 OS X users, and I'd like to see which group statistically is more likely to fall for this.
Right.
Okay.
Go ahead. Finish. I found the last date of the last advertisement. Go ahead.
I think they're like 2 or 3 years old at this point. 08,
yeah.
I would say.
October 2009 was the last, and that was when Windows 7 was launched.
Yeah.
See, now notice Apple's not touting that anymore. I'm going to say now we're in Windows 7 land, and Microsoft learned, and they learned quickly. And I mean, have you seen the studies now? I posted it on Twitter that how drastically less exploits and viruses are now infect Windows systems. That's why.
No, as a matter of fact,
we're not in XP land anymore.
Well, no, as a matter of fact, this right here is the this type of virus is the primary virus I wind up having to remove from people's systems.
Is virus even the right term? I think it's. I mean, malware.
It's more. Honestly, yeah. We shouldn't. There are two forms of this malware. Form 1 is you interact with it. You click something and you install it. That's Form 1. Form 2, Windows is not immune to. OS X largely is, but not entirely. And that is, it self-executes. It self-installs. And basically, the only way you can stop it is basically to pull a power cable out of your computer before it finishes. Which is harder. It's like those are the two forms. But this is really the predominant thing I'm seeing infecting computers in general today, whether it's Windows or OS X.
Yeah, fooling the user is where it's got to be at. I think it's getting harder and harder to breach systems. And spend the time.
Generally speaking, this stuff does one of two things. It either hijacks the system and basically you can't use the internet until either you remove it or pay the money, or it hijacks your browsing. Like it does things like pop up 50 porn sites every time you open a web page, which of course there's PPM money for whoever wrote the software for that. So that's that's the common scam here. Either way, it's like your system makes them money, or they're trying to blackmail money out of you. That's the two variations of this thing, and it's sad. And I would have half a mind on some of them just to give them the credit card and then immediately cancel it, just to see who the hell is stupid
Dude,
enough.
a lot of people would fall for that. It's sad. It just happened.
You honestly think people would go like, oh yeah, you've got a virus, give me $50?
Dude, I feel sorry. There's been news reports, over the years of the Nigerian scams of people getting. I think there was a couple of murders from it, resulting from this Nigerian scams, and people losing a lot of money, and they fall for it. It's terrible. It's
maybe I'm just too much of a cynic.
Hey, that's what. It's the same principle as why would anyone buy something out of those airplane magazines? Mail at what 1,000% markup or something.
No, that's true. But every time one of these goes around, I get like 8 people. Maybe this is why I give the average user, a better sign, because I have like 8 people every time one of these blah blahs goes around. They get it, and they don't pay the guilt. They call me. They say get rid of it. I'm like,
sure.
I'm like,
okay, but I think you got your social engineering experiment answered, in that Apple users are saying, hey, Apple, help us. That goes to show that, well, you certainly didn't run Windows back in the day, because you damn well now, if you were a sucker to put it on your computer, that's how you get I'm sure if you pay them per hour on the phone, or whatever, how many minutes you talk to, they'll be able to try to help you get out of it. But I think that goes to the mentality of some of the demographics of Apple users, like, dear Lord, help me.
Well, and the other thing is, when it comes to these, is even if you're a techie person, you almost always need another computer to remove this, because that computer can't get online.
Absolutely.
So you either need a Linux disk to boot up anything.
From Unix, from the shell, and you go in, you can terminate the.
Well, okay, but that's assuming a sophisticated user. You can do the same thing in Windows. You can kill the things that are in your way and then figure out how to get it removed. But
Windows is not as easy as that. Now, nowadays, I'm sure there's different methods, but I don't think it's as simple.
No, it's safe mode with networking prompt. You can do a lot with that.
Well, you can terminate the whole. Would terminate the user? You're saying terminate the user profile would eliminate?
No, but the whole point of safe mode is it refuses to launch anything else other than the core Windows services.
Well, sure, yeah, that's how.
So if you reboot it into safe mode with networking prompt, the thing wouldn't be running, and you could still get online and do the research and so on and so forth, and go, oh, I need this.
Yeah. I see. This to me is. I like to get all the facts straight. OS 10, of course, could have exploits, but the thing of it is that Windows had to pay a price and learn a lesson before they got wise. Windows made dumb mistakes in having ActiveX's launch on load, active desktops, the way they even deployed certain web icons and things like that just made vulnerabilities out of thin air. IIS. And all of the network protocols that were just open for the world to use and exploit. These are things that.
How many? How many hours of sleep did you lose to Code Red?
Yes, you don't want to get, because then I'm going to get angry. Then I'm going to have. Dude, you know how many Domino's pizza? I shouldn't say Domino's, but any pizza nights that we would have. You just start sleeping on the floor. I remember doing like Continental Airlines.
I was too young to be dealing with it personally, but all the people I knew, I saw them. They were dead when the whole code. They were just walking zombies when the whole Code Red thing was going on.
I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, it was a nightmare to live through it. Yeah, it was a nightmare to deal with this kind of thing. And I will tell you, this is a true story. For a little history. People who know me knew I started off in hardware, then I went into networking, and this Windows drove me from that. I was like, I'm done. And then I'm developing software. No more of this crap. The headaches of administrating Windows just it was the end. I'm not dealing with it.
You know, honestly, I think the one good thing that came out of that is it made people start looking for alternatives, and it made this massive upswing in Linux in the server markets, and so
yes,
it's like there wasn't this demand until that happened. Or like anything else. It's like,
let me give you the worm. What is it? It's the let me give you the worm that tried to go after Apache. The slapper worm. Do you remember the slapper worm?
Oh yeah.
It shut down how many IIS machines and servers, and the same exact worm went after Linux and the Apache server, and they were able to shut it down and recover far faster than Windows. That's why I argue it is system design that is key. And, you know, because I always go on about market share. There's more Linux Apache servers out there than there are Windows IIS servers. And yet, Linux and Apache can survive far more attacks than Windows. And now, we're going to assume that the people admitting it are not stupid enough to fall for malware and Trojans, right? So, for system exploits coming in, it goes to show that market share is not the deal. Now, when it comes to social engineering, any human being that is in front of any type of computer, whether it's Linux, Mac, or Windows, is susceptible. Period. Because it's the weakest link.
Well, it's it's just like that phone scam where somebody calls you up and claims to be your credit card company and says, "Will you give us your number so we can verify the chart?" And then it's like, you know what? Actually, I'm going to hang up and call you back. And they're like, well, don't call us on the number on the back of your card.
Yeah. But I will say, because I give a lot of kudos, and Windows is solid now. I mean, I think Windows has done tremendous with now with Windows 7 and Server 2008. I think that they've done a fantastic job. I think they learned a lot, but that's where the commercials derive from. In those years when it was Windows XP and Server 2003, it was a living hell. I mean, sorry, I lived it.